In this tutorial, we're going to go over setting up your editor. Setting up the editor the way it moves, the way you want to move, is very important in the editing process so that you are efficient. The first thing we want to do is get into our preferences in the editor. So you're going to open up a job in the editor, and then you're going to go, you can go Tools, and then Preferences, or you can hit Control M as in Mary, and that will bring up the Preferences window as well. And as we go over to the Edit tab, most people use the non-breaking dash instead of a hyphen. You can ask the editor, or tell the editor you want to move by character, or you want to move by word. In this case, somebody's got it set for move by character, and if you look down at the taskbar down at the bottom, on the status bar you'll see CHR, meaning character. Now if I select move by word, and then click on OK, then that's going to change over to word. So now if I hit my right arrow key, I'm moving by word. Let's say I want to move, but I want to move by character. I don't want to have to go through preferences to get to the spot where it's going to allow us to decide whether we want to move by character or by word. So in order to make that simple, you just hit the Control key and your arrow key left or right, and that'll move by character until you let go of the Control key, and then it will move by word. Now you have an insert mode and an overwrite mode that you can use. If you look down here again on our status bar, you'll see INS. That means we're in insert mode. Kind of better to be in insert mode than overwrite mode. Here's insert mode, and it's inserting it, so it's moving everybody over. When I turn that off, and I can do that by hitting the insert button on the computer, and if you look down here, you'll see that it's now set to OVR, or overwrite. And if I start writing, it's going to overwrite what is there. A little bit more dangerous, I guess, than insert. The next thing is auto advance cursor during global. So when I hit my F7, it's going to go to the first untranslate or scan stop or token. While it's sitting here thinking about it, and I'm sitting here doing my stuff, it's already found the next place it's going to automatically go to. And I like the way that's spelled, so I'm going to say let's put that in the job dictionary. And you see it's already moved on to the next global and does what it needs to do. If the next thing was a conflict, then it would bring you the conflict menu. If the next thing was a database token, it would bring up the database token menu. So it just helps you to move fast through untranslates. Pass through the document, I should say. Auto playback during global. So if you have this checked, when you do a global, or the global window comes up, it's going to play back about, it's going to start about 5 seconds before your cursor and play the audio. Auto punctuation. The cool thing about auto punctuation is I'm putting my cursor right here, and if I hit the period, it's automatically going to put 2 spaces and upcap the next word. If I take that out, it's going to return to what it was before. Comma will do the same thing. That's auto punctuation. If I turn that off, and I can do that by hitting Control P, and I hit the period, then I can do ellipsis if I want. I can put a couple of commas in there if I want. And if I hit Control P and hit my commas, they're all going to start going away because auto punctuation is taking control there. And again, down on our status bar, you will see PNC. Okay, so back to our preferences. Automatic pagination. Keep this checked. It's so that whenever you do a save, and it does it in a timed fashion, it will make sure that your left and right margins are correctly set. Nothing's going skewed. Nothing is doing its own thing. In some cases, if you don't have auto pagination checked, then if you bring in an include, all of a sudden it's one character per line, and that can be very disconcerting. So keep the auto pagination on. Use the escape key to exit or close the editor. So the escape key is kind of nice because I don't have to go up and click on the X in the top right corner. I don't have to go hit the close button or file and exit. All I have to do is hit my escape button, and it comes up and says, hey, are you sure we know you want to close, do you want to save it? And you'll have the choice of saying yes, no, or cancel. Typing replaces selection. So if I highlighted a section here and I started typing, you'll see it makes it all go away. Alright, so now we're going to go back. So that's kind of cool, but be careful, don't highlight something for something else and accidentally hit a key and wipe it out. That's the only thing I would be cognizant of. Alright, use Shift key to indicate proper noun. So the reason that that's in place is so that if I type in somebody's name and I'd use Shift J for Jones, then if punctuation comes along in front of Jones and somebody hits a period or a question mark, the upcap can't be changed because we've marked it with the Shift key and says this is a proper noun, and don't change it, leave it alone. So that's like a protection. Okay, enable tracking using color. This is kind of cool. This is kind of cool because it allows the court reporter to track what the scopist is doing, or track what they're doing if they want to know where they've made changes. So I can type something in here and it will be in red. This is also used for CasePad if you're doing CasePad local. You need to have that on so that when you want to come back and click on File and synchronize with clients, it's going to be using the color as the indicator that that's where the change, the update needs to take place over on CasePad local. Enable USB foot pedal for audio playback. You check it, make sure you've got your foot pedal in, and then exit out of Winner and come back in because it needs to load the driver for that, and you'll be able to use that foot pedal. Scan to the color of untranslate. This would be for captioning people, because you can in Winner turn off the brackets or the parentheses that go around untranslates so that it's not distracting to the cart people that are using it. Okay, merge to first paragraph style. What this means is this is an answer. Let me close this here. This is an answer paragraph style, and this is a question paragraph style. So what we want So what happens is, if we don't have it checked, I believe it's merge to the previous, so this will, the answer should become a question. And that's what it did. So the paragraph style changed if I wanted to delete this. Now if I have it checked, then the question wouldn't become a question, it would become an answer. So that's the paragraph style. Page up or down moves by screen. Because there's so many different screen sizes out there. If you're on a laptop, you might want to go 80%, and that's how far, whenever you do page down, how far you want this to scroll. If you want, anytime I hit the page down button, I want it to go a whole page, then you may have to fiddle with this to get this right where you want it. Centerline editing. Now, centerline editing is an old thought, school of thought. This is definitely for people that use their keyboard more than their mouse. So the mouse can get a little funky in here with this and move you really fast up and down. So what this is it keeps the page, the cursor in the middle of the page. So everything from the cursor is moving up around it. And that's centerline editing. Autocomplete. The autocomplete table are little mnemonics or keywords that you can put in here that you want. Let's say they say it a lot. Maybe it's something that you miss a lot or consistently, or something that's just happening a lot in this particular job. You can come here and add your keyword. Okay, so that's a lot if I have to type it 4 or 5 times. I've got that in there, so now what I can do is I can do ATT, oops, sorry, I put my caps lock on, and hit the spacebar key, and then it will put my phrase in for me. And that is autocomplete. Okay, so here's your view. You can have different things come up during the view. Now, view page layout, that means you want it to look like what a piece of paper would look like. And you'll see the gray over here and the gray over here and what our piece of paper looks like. You can show paragraph marks and with space, show the space symbol with the paragraph marks. That's this guy right here. And that might be a bit much for everyone to look at. I think probably tech support looks at that more than anybody. But whatever. You can always turn those on or off. And the next thing, show headers and footers. If you want to see the contents of your headers and footers, you can put a check mark here and click on OK. Here is show ruler. I have the ruler up. I like looking at it. Some people might be a distraction, so totally up to you. And here we have show steno at startup. So when I open up the editor and open up my job for the first time, whatever, your steno note should come up and should stay up. So now we've got cursor width. You can make these the cursor wider if you want. Just be careful you make it. See, I got that center line editing. I'm sorry. Be careful how big you make the cursor because it can cover some of the letters as it gets too big. Alright, let's go to our save options now. Something that's important to note that if you get a Windows update, I suggest that everybody come in here and make sure that the update does not uncheck your save options. So you want to make sure your make backup copy is checked. That is the BU file. And that autosave is checked. Save every 3 minutes. I would set that as my minimum. I wouldn't go lower than that. And that is the SAV file. And now we'll go to the keyboard macros tab. And this is where we have the playback keys, and that's exactly what they do. So if you look at Alt-1, it puts in a period, then that arrow pointing to the left means new line, the arrow pointing to the right means one tab, then a question mark, then a tab, and then an up cap. So if here, let's say I missed a cue and I hit Alt-1, you'll see what it did. It put the period, it put the tab, put another tab, and then up capped the next word. So you can make these do whatever you want. Just know what it is that you want it to do and know your symbols and stuff like that. And if this is like an ongoing case, you can save it to a file, give it a name that makes sense. Okay, and then if you come back to this case and you go, oh hey, I remember I set these up already, I don't have to do it again, then you just find your file and select it, and you'll see how different these are. Okay, this is not the only thing that you can do with these keyboard or these playback keys. Let's say I'm going to global this in, so I'm hitting F8, right? I can put my cursor here and hit Alt-2 for my answer, so I don't have to type this in. I don't have to know any of this stuff. All I have to do is put it in one time on my playback keys, save it, and then when I global it, it will do exactly as I told it to do. So that's kind of a nice little handy dandy tool. And then here's spelling. Now the auto spell, what that does, if you look over here where it says Mrs. Jones, you see the red underline, that means it considers this a misspelling. You're going to use the new spell checker. You can tell it to ignore words containing numbers. And if I were you, I would use the expanded dictionary. The standard dictionary is just a standard dictionary, whereas the expanded dictionary contains technical and legal terms in it. And medical terms, sorry. So that's a better all-around dictionary to use. Okay, and that is setting up preferences for your editor. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.